European standards to follow. In Australia, they went this way and they backed off. But again, if you're going to export beef from Australia to somewhere, you're going to be following this. Now, in the US, and I was again reminded of the presentation yesterday, but you see one senator here, or congressman, said that climate change is nothing but a hoax. And this guy said, you know, that's basically treason. So it generates a lot of passion. And if you want to know what the right wing in the US says, you can go to this website, heritage.org, and you will see all wonderful graphs that everything that the current administration do, they will find lots and lots of dollars of why they shouldn't do it. So you see here that their view is that if this bill goes in, this is the effect on the GDP in the US over the next 30 years. Okay, so those are the four challenges. Now, I'm always asked in these, well, what's happening especially in Brazil? And so I will go through the main countries which are either producers or importers of poultry. So Brazil, really big problem. We've had exchange rates, a huge swing, and this has affected us in Thailand significantly. We compete with Europe with some further processed products in Europe. So if on the 1st of July last year we both sold a product for 3,000 euros, in February this year we had to sell at 3,500 euros, where Brazil could sell at 2,400 euros to get the same amount of local currency. And then in June it was a little bit better, but we in Thailand lost 800 euro competitiveness in a period when nothing to do with us. Brazil exports, the wheels fell off round about here, and as I will show in following, they were starting to produce at this level. It looks at this is going to be about flat for the rest of the year. This flat for the rest of the year will make them about the same exports as last year, but they were looking for a 5% increase. And really the only place where they are still doing extremely well is in the Middle East, and this is Saudi Arabia, and a huge increase in imports from Iraq, and that also is coming from the US. But the big ones, they are down in Japan, they are down in Europe, down in Russia, and down in Venezuela. That is not good news, and it might create a problem for some of you here in Asia. Prices, again, way down. Today, Brazil is probably around break even though their live bird is a lot cheaper than ours in Thailand. I will not give away the secrets, as the previous speaker would not say the price in Thailand. I will also not say the price in Thailand. But the Brazilian live bird today is about 74 US cents. Now, ours is higher in Thailand, but Brazilian labor is getting more expensive. In the US, you have Mexicans and Asians. In Thailand, we have Burmese. In Brazil, we really don't have anybody. The Paraguayans won't come. And Brazil is getting more and more automated, but the total processing costs in Brazil per bird are 3 times Thailand. And if you take per kilo, they are about 2.2 times. So we do close the gap. And we are also very fortunate in Thailand, eating tom yum goong. So all our bits and pieces get sold. There is not a gram left over. So our yield, without pumping water in, is about 105 to 107%, because we sell the feathers wet. In Brazil, the sellable yield is about 74. That's even after rendering and a lot of MDM. So we are able to pull back, and I share very much my colleagues' views. There's a lot being talked about Thailand going back to export raw meat to Europe and Japan. For me, it would be an economic disaster. 25% of the bird is the carcass and the giblets. and they are wonderful prices at the moment in Thailand. And to give you an idea, the 15 to 16 million birds that was mentioned, which are processed today, would have to go to about 21, 22, and it doesn't need a brilliant economist to know what's going to happen then with the price. So economically, I don't think it's worthwhile. And we always have to remember with bird flu, you know, in Europe, they have an exclusion zone of 30 kilometers. When it comes to other countries, it's the whole country that's excluded, and we do the same thing to them. So we can have all the best systems. The big five have very good systems. We have gone a long way towards compartmentalization, but you only need one bird in Chiang Mai or somewhere, and they close the whole border. So the risk is very, very high. And this is where, here we go again. They are now at 500 million because they housed a lot of parent stock. There is no market for that at the moment. And this is why some of the Brazilian companies will be in serious difficulties. But maybe this will happen. And for you, Paeko, this is a real danger. A little bit from the US because of the Russian decrease in imports, and therefore there will be leg quarters left over. And Brazil has those 500 million day-old chicks, and with the reduction in their main markets, they will be aggressively looking for new markets. And the three targets, obviously from a population point of view, China, India, Indonesia, although I say it will be a very brave truck driver who would drive the first truck out of the port in India. Okay, Japan, and this is interesting from food safety point of view. You see there their import prices, the problems of China. You see here China, their cooked food, they were ahead of us in Thailand. They were about 58 to 42. At the moment, even though, as our colleague said, they are coming back again, they are now very much below Thailand. And this was all because of their food safety issue with melamine, etc. Chinese export to Japan have to spend a certain number of days in quarantine, and that has really hurt them. And then Brazil has been the big beneficiary after 2004. Today, it has a 93% market share in fresh imports. So obviously, the Japanese traders would love Thailand to come back. The European traders would love Thailand to come back. But the only winners would be the Japanese importers and the European importers. China. Fortunately, our Chinese friends eat lots of poles. And you see here $600 million of poles, plus another couple of $100 million in Hong Kong. And this is what's worrying the US industry at the moment with their dispute with China, because if the Chinese don't import our poles, I don't think you'll be eating many poles for breakfast in the US. And all that basically then, I don't say it goes right to the bottom line, but it really will hit badly. And then there's legs and wings and the others. From where it comes from, the US is the main gainer. Totally today, China and Hong Kong together are the largest by far importer in the world. They outstrip Russia. The longer term, and a lot of it's been said already about the problem of feed, and this illustrates it. So there are the number of hogs that China has, about 50%, and that's the soy that they have in the world. And when you look at it, and this similar graphs have been shown over the last day or so, and this is where, as a Brazilian, we say that God is Brazilian, because we have 3% of the population and 13% of the water. And we can still grow a lot more without chopping down any more of our trees. We have